Good morning, everyone. This is Mookie. I'm joined with Darth again, the usual suspects here, and we are damage control. So we're going to be going into this week of Marvel Strike Force, breaking down the current gameplay. There's a lot of gameplays. I mean, I got to talk about the past milestone events to kind of start off with the show and kind of recap the new ones that's going on. Plus, we're going to go into discussing Cosmic Crucible. And the big hot topic of right now is also talking about the Famine event. So we'll definitely kind of reach around. Because last week we were discussing or trying to foreshadow as best as we could as far as how our game planning was. So we'll talk about what our outcome was behind our little theory that we had that we've been talking about. I want to say, Darth, we're talking about this Famine event and what teams to get prepared for about a month or so, maybe more.
Yeah, minute.
Yeah, it's finally there. But yeah. With that being said, let's introduce the band. Darth, how are you doing, Darth?
Very well, thanks, Mookie.
Just turn this down a little bit. And good morning again, and good morning to the Twitchers. What's up, Muzake? I'm sorry, I know I'm butchering your name. Let me try to do this. Mitsukazi? What's up with you?
4 letters, it's easy. Call them Mitz.
Mitz, yeah, there you go. What's up, Mitz? We'll just do that. Mitz, and we got Kaiser Tiago on. And we have a few others. So yeah, you can always chime in on Twitch. You got some questions or want to highlight something that Darth and I are kind of forgetting about highlighting. You can always jump into the chat there. And to the YouTubers, any comments, feel free to do that. I'll say Brandon. Brandon's been jumping into our comments lately on YouTube. So I'm going to give you a shout out, Brandon, because you go on there just flying with your recapping of our show. We appreciate anybody watching and kind of throwing their own feedback there. Open forum. All right, so let me bring up the screenplay here and transition it. All right, so what I wanted to do first, I want to recap Milestones because I've been busy with real life stuff, and I feel like I've overlooked certain events and haven't been like really looking into the details here as far as some past events I already kind of went through. Let me see if I can find it. It's on the Milestone, and I think they still have it up. And it's this one right here, this whole Sunfire one. And I felt like I slept on it. I know that this one ended Thursday or so. And it was the war, like, let me just pull it up. So like this one, I came up way short as far as completing milestones. And I meant to ask our team, our alliance mates on Discord, and specifically you, Darth. I mean, was this one? Did you complete this milestone?
I think I completed 37. I did not complete the whole thing. I might have completed 38 as well.
Okay, so this one was the one that you had to pay to kind of complete it then?
I think that one was that the one that was power cores and war credits? I can't remember. Look at the scoring of it. See how we scored.
Okay, yeah. So Mitsu was over here saying that he got up to 238. But this is where I get real salty. I knew towards the end of the day that I had to just do like an extra raid or something going on. And I'm like, damn it, I didn't complete 37. I was pissed. Yeah. But I mean, it wasn't like I missed out on the gold star right there or something. But and I mean, this looks so juicy. I remember kind of doing some math in between my day job, and I was like, there's no way I can get up to 200. I'm not going to purchase some of this stuff. I mean, that's just whatever. But I was just curious. So it sounds like you and I were kind of on the same pace then, and even with Mitsu there. So I don't feel as salty now. I just wanted to bring that up because I was just off of a personal curiosity that I had. And then the other one that was side by side with it, Blitz one. Yeah, I completed all of easy. That. Okay.
Yeah, that one was. The Blitz ones are pretty. As long as I heard somebody else put it the great way. You could either blitz really pretty hard for one day or half-ass blitz for 4 days and complete it very easily.
Yeah.
You just had to you blitzed.
Okay. Well, I'm bringing this up here because it just feels that lately, like going into the milestone, like I'm just scrolling. There's so many things side by side running in, and it's not a complaint. It's just more about like me overlooking stuff, and that's kind of what I worry about. It's like, man, am I making sure am I being efficient with my gameplay? And that's kind of what I bring up on here because now this is like the cool bonus one now is that whole streak one, right? Where you just spend 1,200 of your campaign energy daily to hit all these milestones. So that's one I try to get mindful of. And I even would do an extra core. I wonder if that was the whole trick out of it. Because
it was.
Yeah, I think you can go through it without coring too much. Like, of course, if you do the daily 50 cores, but at sometimes you got to stretch it where you get like use up the 100 cores to get to 1200, unless you're doing the right saving with the web milestones. And I don't
Hit the
have
nail on the
access to
head.
that daily. So,
Oh,
and I think that's the trick. So, like for me, because again, I had to jump to the PC. I don't have Facebook. I don't have all those other like ways within my phone, like because I have the iOS and I don't have access to the web store or that what milestone thing, so it just doesn't have it synced. So I had to log on like this today, and I can jump in there and claim those free rewards that I've been getting from the day to day stuff. But that's just something there that I know that some people may be struggling, like myself, a little bit, or even more so. That I just really don't have the time to jump onto PC or don't care about the web store. But it's a
making you care about the web store.
yeah, it's one thing that you don't. If you really love and really want to kind of be efficient, that's the easiest way to stay efficient with some of those free bonus stuff that's on there. Um, but then this one right here, this I know I was talking about last Sunday how important this blueprint is, and it's all about this particular level 4 ions. Now, we'll slightly speeding a little bit, but I mentioned we are going to be talking about. Of course, this is the big one to get right there, that helmet. I think did someone on our alliance ready to get this helmet? I feel like someone talked about it already.
I think they got it from that one. We got the cloak from the last part. That's pretty far up to get that. That's the one from buying war attacks and earning war credits, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so I went aggressive a little bit on this one to make sure I'm buying more war attacks and using up to the 14 or something like that, 14 attacks. And so that one I've been coring too. I'll go in the Blitz store for it. So for me, I've been going into the store and I haven't done it today, but I didn't been hitting the refresh and making sure I can get all this back up to where it needs to be so that way I can do 14 attacks during this event. Um, but anyways, what I was gonna say off of this whole thing right here on that blueprint, it just kind of goes back into the question that you asked me last time. It's like, who do I have up to the level 4 ISOs? And now that Rogue is out, that's the one I'm going to put the next piece into. That's kind of the question I have for you, Darth. Who are you targeting to be the next ISO 4 character?
He just solidified it for me. I only have one. I don't have two like you, so I saved the one from last month, the free one. So I am probably going to go Rogue too. I haven't used it yet, but especially since I'm going to start the legendary section of Dark Dimension today, I'm probably going to pump her a little bit more because she's got no red stars and things like that. So the level 4 on her stuff is good. And I don't know if everybody's gotten a chance to play with her and stuff yet, but boy, that team, against the right team, that team is amazing. Even in war, like I said, in Crucible, I'm sure they're 10 times as efficient. I haven't had a chance to play with her in Crucible yet. But I know that in war, some teams they just get smoked on. But I was doing some fairly massive punch ups and testing, and then in live war with this team right here.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's going to be the next. Sorry, I totally went on to the next thing because we started talking about Rogue. I'm sorry, but yes, she will get the ISO 4 from me, blue ISO 4 next.
No. It's a good topic because I mean, this whole Famine event is really all about her, and it's about unlocking her and then getting to play with that unlimited X-Men team. And everything you just said, I mean, I remember using them at low levels, and right now they're still like in the mid level for me. But man, like Cosmic Crucible is another like next level gameplay with them with that trait specifically. It's like the Wakandans on steroids, even more so when this team goes in there. But we'll talk about them again as we kind of break down the Cosmic Crucible because there's some news on the blog post that I wanted to highlight today in regards to that. But yeah, I was just thinking about last week, as far as Milestones. So that came out. So obviously, again, I'm highlighting that because to the point that Darth was making, he's gonna start using her to dark dimensions, and there's just certain niche characters that you may have your own personal interest for that you want to continue to gear up, and this is a good event here to get those level 4 ions. But that's about it. I mean, and that's the kind of and this I don't even know how to kind of take the topic about the whole Summer of Thunder. People nicknaming it Summer Blunder.
You know what? I'll grab this for a second because last week we talked about it and I was irritated and I said, the one thing that they really need to do to fix it, which I didn't think they were going to do, is put out the completed, give everybody the points to complete the first one, and then do another one. Either do an identical one or do a different calendar, so that people are still incentivized to finish that calendar and purchase all the stuff they want them to purchase. And by mid last week, by 5 days ago, I was like, they're never going to do that. We're going to get nothing. That little calendar they gave us is going to be it, and it's just going to be what it is. And then this happened, like, and then they completed one for us and gave us a second one. It was almost like I was in charge. So it felt really good, actually, for the first time in a long time, that after a blunder, like they said, it was a blunder, but I think that I think their fix is top notch. I think that they could have maybe done something with the Dazzler event, but I think that the way they fixed the Summer Thunder event was such a good fix that people will forget about the little Dazzler mix-up where people paid $5 and got to complete their Dazzler one from the month before.
Yeah. No.
So that's what that is.
Yeah, I mean, and to break it down, so basically they gave us the whole event. So when they rolled this out on Friday, I think during the server reset, right, is where you can log in and just complete the rest of that milestone. And was this one right here? I mean, you basically were able to go ahead and get everything. So which level do you got her after this, compensation? Now she had
Five
level
stars.
4, level 5. You got her 5?
I got a 5 stars now. Yeah.
Yeah, same here. And it's
But like you, I
almost
purchased a pack.
okay. I purchased one too, and then what's curious is that now that they have it kind of running side by side, I'm in position to probably get her at 6. Did you start kind of like calculating all the shards here?
There's not, because I do believe there's 180 of her shards in each one, and I think that I had to collect the first or second of her rewards on the secondary one in order for me to get her that high. So I will be short of 6 star by the time I'm finished, but not by a whole bunch, maybe by like 30 shards.
There you go. I'm within that range too. It kind of made me curious, like, should I buy one of those like $20 packs or 15? You know, when they kind of start raising or lowering the level. Yeah, so
Yeah, well,
that's kind of made me think about that.
two red stars on her's got me zero purchasing her shards.
Damn it.
It's funny how that works. It's funny how it works, how red stars dictate how you feel about characters, like overall.
Yeah, no, and that makes me go back to the limited X-Men team and talk about red stars in a moment. But you have me wondering. I got her at 5.
It's good.
Yeah. And then this is a team. Heimdall, I'm like, I mean, yeah, he's the
It's
last one
Mystic
to
here.
kind
It's
of,
hard.
yeah. I mean, I think he's ready, but you know how I am.
Oh, I very much know how you are.
I'll hit that button pretty soon, but there's so many Mystic characters going on. I think I wanted to make sure that when you start using, well, I think right now this one's fine to hit, but when you start getting into
To
the
hit the button,
13,
if you think about it that way, because you'll want them for war defense and stuff, but we don't have Valkyrie yet,
yeah, that's
and you'll have them built up by the time the war scourge comes around in 2 months. So that's you got 2 months for that team. That's how I'm looking at it.
Yep. All right. Well, let me get this blog post situated. So that was kind of the recap of what's been going on this past week with the new updates, especially the big news off of that really sad compensation that she hit on. I mean, that was definitely something that I know the community was all excited about, shocked, I guess, or which is something that it was a clap and a good step in the right direction there. All right, so let's transition. All right, so on Friday, so the second or the first part of the usual news, they talk about the Summer of Thunder event again, and they're talking about Space Viking, which really is just about Thor's costume event. That's the best way I would kind of explain all of it. Of course, they're gonna have other compensation going on there as far as some certain milestones that you hit, where you'll get your purple raid and Armory 14s and some tail gear and so forth. But the big one is really kind of getting into that Mjolnir fragments. So that way you can continue on with the Thor, the Mighty Thor, Jane Foster month-long event. So I'm not too excited about costumes in general. Whenever I see these news, I just kind of look over it too much. I mean, I'll purchase them or like, the free stuff, like I'll change it if I like it, but it's not a big thing for me. So that's why I'm just kind of passing through on that. And
They
then
messed up, man. They should have been Fat Thor. It should have been Dad Bod Thor, and then everybody would be excited and would probably buy it.
There you go. Yeah, because instead it's the Cosmic one, right, or something like that they called it. But yeah, Fat Thor would have been the bomb. You're right. You had that whole
It's beer belly.
what's that movie that they even kind of reference a little bit? I can't remember right now. With the dude.
The Big Lebowski,
There
yes.
you go. Yeah. Okay. So then the next part of it on the blog post here, or the Sinister Sunset. So this is going to be the next Rumble Blitz feature team, Sinister Six Squad. And this one's kind of cool. I mean, I've been kind of initially I hated the whole Rumble thing, but I guess because you and I and our where we're at and the level of the game, we have our rosters kind of wide enough where we have Sinister Six characters all unlocked and are probably up to the whatever gear levels that are pretty high. So these we kind of blitz through within like a 2-day period is when I can complete this, or depending on how many runs I want to do. But it is what it is.
What I do on those Rumble Blitzes, I grab the team that you're supposed to grab that has the highest stars and the highest gear for me, and I put them together and I run them 8 times in a row, and I finish the whole event.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
I go one. I just pay the cores or the refreshes for it through the 50s, because I'm not blitzing like I used to. I don't need those refreshes anymore ever. Like I'm sitting on 500 almost all the time because they've changed how blitz. The importance of blitz, at least for me, because we're never blitzing for new characters and stuff anymore. I'm never saving up because I need to try to get 100 shards for this character anymore. So now I'm using those shards to blast through stuff like this. So just if you wanted to take another day off blitzing, you can do that by spending your blitz refreshes.
That's a good idea. That's funny because my other take that I take off of that, I do feature them first, like right into day one when I know I can win. Yeah, I don't group them together like you do. I should, but whatever
It
team
just
I have
makes
them
it
kind of
fast.
scrambled with, I look for them through my like save roster. I'm like looking for the feature team, and then I play them. And then what I end up doing is like then that's it. Like I play them and I don't even like finish the blitz rotation. I just wait for the 2 hour cooldown or whenever I remember to log back on,
Yeah.
and then I just play them that way. So it's kind of the same concept. And you can get through it. All right, but then that's what the feature team is. The Cosmic Crucible update. So this is the big one that we started talking about. We'll just kind of like skim and give the summary because the big update right here is on the second paragraph on the blog post where it's talking about the update. Number one, they're going to be shooting this event now coming Monday, right? The first part of the week rather than the mid to end part. So this is going to come on tomorrow. And with that, it's going to be an update to certain stages, and it's the rooms 3, 4, and 6. So we'll highlight and break down some theory crafting here towards the end of the show about what we plan on doing. But that's kind of exciting. Something different, changes it up a little bit on the whoever your matchups are. And then Mojo's Mayhem. So this one, I guess this one probably I haven't really paid attention to the time frame, but obviously it sounds like this is coming to an end. So the new feature character that's going to be rolling out is Ghost Spider. Now that one, I read it this morning. I'm looking at it and I kind of like underwhelmed. I have a pet peeve when they're doing a feature character like Ghost Spider and she's also running on the raid milestones.
Right. She's a raid milestone character. It
Don't.
feels like every time they put Ghost Spider's name down, they meant to put Scarlet Spiders from here, and they just don't. I don't know why they're holding Scarlet Spider shards so hard.
Yeah. I it just makes my butt itch. I hate this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
You hit it last week about like how they're just about them releasing and making characters farmable and stuff. And here's kind of a slight way of making it farmable. And they take 2 steps back by like making the same character on 2 different, events. Anyways, that's just kind of something that needs to be corrected. But maybe you're right. Maybe it was supposed to be Scarlet Spider and they were just having another one of those times where they just never proofread
I
their
doubt
stuff.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyways, so we'll skip through that. The Red Star. So this is a big one for me when I saw this because the team that's the hot team right now that you can really go into, like you talked about with War, and then of course the Cosmic Crucible team, and it's this Unlimited X-Men. So here's a chance here where I know I asked you last week, hey, are you going all in with the Inhumans and the current, Red Star featured teams that they have out there? He said you'll pass on that. So do you have your red stars saved up and where you're gonna unleash it on this one, or you're gonna wait to a feature character?
I'm very pleased with my red stars on unlimited. Actually, I got fives across the board. Well, maybe I only have a four on Sunfire. I only have a four on Sunfire, but everybody else has got a five, and Gambit's got a six. So I'm not going to be pulling any of my orbs for them.
Yeah, well, you can see I'm on
Uh,
the other side. So I got
yeah,
my highest is 5 right there with Dazzler. The rest are under. So I got 3, 4, 3. So
yeah.
I'm definitely I'm gonna be pulling some red stars and kind of doing my own little seed theory stuff and all that kind of usual stuff that you do, trying to get the hit big on it. And I have a couple. I mean, how many of do you have a lot of like elites like that? That's one thing I'm pausing on. It's like, man, I don't know if I want to go in that aggressively like on my elites. I
I
don't
spent
think.
I've been I spent my elites the other day, just because that's the kind of guy I am. I wanted to pull some orbs, and I knew nobody was coming that I cared about right now. Um, I knew it was going to be a minute, I think, before I wanted to pull red stars because I could smell what was coming. So,
Yeah, because
uh,
I feel with the milestones, they keep like unleashing a lot of elite force now, right? Where it's just starting to add up on some of these
well,
events.
yeah, yeah.
So
See, yeah, you're doing good on them. I pulled them for nobody. I think even last time. I don't even think there was a featured character. I even pulled a six just to see if I could grab a new 6-star character.
I was just you're just rolling the dice and just had to.
I was, there's that thought process with the big orbs, with the sixes and sevens, that when you pull them for a brand new character, how long is it going to be before you actually get to light that star up?
Mm,
Is it going to be 6 months? Is it going to be a year? Is it going to be 4 months? Is where when you pull a big red star orb for a character that you'd like to have them for. I mean, it just says so. If you pull it and if you get it for the new character, you're not going to get to light that star up right away. But
yeah,
if you pull them when everything's even, then there's more of a chance for you to grab, another character that you'd like that'll actually immediately get that upgrade, and you will immediately be able to feel the power. This is one of those anti-hoarding mechanics my brain uses to keep me from hoarding stuff.
no, it's a good. I mean, I'm sure there's people like you that share that same thought. So that's cool. It didn't trigger anything in me personally, but I get it. But yeah, so I'm definitely gonna I'm not gonna open up any of these Elite Fives for this particular feature unlimited team. I'd rather kind of showcase that on someone individually, but I'll probably use at least maybe all these Elite Fours to try to just keep grinding away, see if I can get some higher levels. Because as you saw my team, I mean they're all like 4 and under. So all right, and then what else do we got? Something to kind of wrap it up on the blog post there, if I can find my cursor. Um, yeah, they just kind of talk about the other thing on the Blitz with Psylocke coming out, and then the raids, so the gamma raids. So that kind of gives a reminder that I got to double check our lane assignments, making sure that we got that going. Is that that's tonight, right? Yeah, so it says July 10th. So tonight, yeah, definitely I'll look at that and get that updated for our team. And there's that quick rumble, and then the back to boot camp and those flash events later.
It's one of my favorite flash events now.
Yeah, for the training modules, right? That's a big one. Definitely, they probably need to rework that because I don't even think it's. I don't know. I have to look at the rewards on seeing like how
Not
much you
enough.
actually. It's not enough. Yeah, that's what I figure. I figured
It's not
like
enough.
giving you like nickels and dimes and not like the big value out of it anymore. It seems outdated. That needs to be refreshed.
If every month they gave you the first time rewards, I think it would be worth it. This is just the biggest crunch in the game for me. It was gold a year ago, so it'll switch eventually. It'll be something else.
Yeah. All right. Um, I'll let you choose. We're gonna talk about the Famine for a moment and also Cosmic Crucible. But which one do you want to jump into first? Which one's kind of on your mind?
Let's do Famine first, because Famine will lead into Cosmic Crucible, because I'm sure we're going to talk about Unlimited in the Cosmic Crucible.
All right, let's jump right into it then. So, to kind of recap, I know we've been talking about the Young Avengers, and I know you were really hitting on them, Darth. And lo and behold, that is the feature team that everybody's talking about. And Node 5 appears to be the biggest kind of sticking point um, on this particular event here, because I think this is the one that comes out with a big barrage of just like they're all attacking you, throwing blinds on you, and doing all this kind of stuff. Um, And then you need that younger. You need Squirrel Girl, so she's the big old MVP of this particular event right now. And I bring all that up because I was one of those suckers a little bit that was farming a little bit towards the A Force and towards Inhumans, but I didn't fall into the trap of Inhumans that aggressively. Um, but I'm okay with A Force. I mean, I didn't go like too hard. I went all in with Young Avengers first, so I did everything right, you know. And then once I got the team to what I wanted, then I kind of, you know, carried it over to A Force here and there, which is pretty good because now we got the counters with the Web Warriors, right, with A Force. So all in all, I mean, I'm not,
Counters
yeah.
with the Young Avengers.
Oh, there you go.
Like
My
that's
bad.
the most important. Like that's you know we did go over that, yeah, because yeah, your A Force is important now because everybody on the planet has a huge Young Avengers,
Mm-hmm.
and your A Force with Doom will wipe the floor with them
Yeah.
9 times out of 10. I still haven't lost that match, but I've watched matches lose now, but I still haven't personally lost that match.
Yeah, I think we play. I don't think I uploaded onto YouTube, but yeah, we play. You saw me live, lost the match. I think but it's with the RNG, right? I don't think my Doom got the ult ready on that first turn. And then there's certain little slight things that kind of go backwards, but overall, it's like a 90% success rate. I mean, this team right here with Doom definitely is going to take out the Young Avengers. But going to the Young Avengers, looking at them on the offensive side. So I was fortunate to pull a 7 red. I did not upgrade her because of this event as far as like updating the 7 reds. I just luckily got that. But I'm curious if there was a second, you know, feature character on this roster that you would get to a 6 red. Is there, I mean, do you have, I should even ask you that. Besides Squirrel Girl, right? I think you asked me a question one time before, and just in Discord, like, you know, should you like use your promos on Squirrel Girl?
Mm-hmm.
But is there any other? Like, is she the only one that you would spend promos on, or is there another one that you're curious about?
I mean, the problem with promos right now is we don't have any red stars or any yellow stars to help with those red stars out. So, like, yeah, Miss Marvel's a good choice. She's a hell of a tank right now. I wouldn't put him on America Chavez, but Kate Bishop, I think
Yeah.
she would. I mean, I think that's a badass choice for more red stars. Echo, she may be slow, but her retaliate is huge. So a big amount of red stars on her is really gonna assist that team in what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think that you know probably Squirrel Girl number one, then Kate, then Echo, then Miss Marvel, then America Chavez. You could
Okay.
maybe switch Echo and Miss Marvel and make Miss Marvel third. But I think Kate, I don't know, because she goes so much, because like Squirrel Girl takes all those extra turns when somebody goes under 50% health, and how Kate stands up and baps somebody and hits them with blind when somebody goes under 50%. Just the damage alone from that'll help. And then the bigger red stars, more focus, more chance to land blind, so that you can run her as a striker like you and I are, and she's still landing her abilities.
Yeah.
I think that's the correct answer.
Yeah. Nah, and Mitsu is kind of like one with the first idea that you're also talking about with Miss Marvel. So it sounds like you kind of lean towards, you know, putting her at the 6 first for the tank purposes. And that's why I posed the question, because it's kind of like that two sides. It's like, okay, do you want to go with the tank mentality with Miss Marvel and having her leapfrog and be up on the top two? Or do you want to go with damage? But it's like the main thing is if you don't have to go with star for it, and if you're ready to spend one, then Miss Marvel is more than ready on most rosters, you know, with her being out the longest. Um, but I don't think you can go with wrong with either or. I mean, it's just philosophy. Because the truth is, I mean, like when you put them on defense, right? I mean, Miss Marvel is gonna kind of be a nuisance to her. She is pretty big, but anyways, I mean, that is just something I was kind of curious about because I'm on the fence now where I'm at the point where I have to start looking at certain characters that I want to put to the 6 red and going into, not because this is not my personal thing, but here I am going hoarding. I'm hoarding them because I just know that there's some of the characters are going to be coming out. So,
I don't know that you're hoarding them. I have 300 gold promotion credits. I have 300 gold promotion credits. I don't think you're hoarding them. They've been flooding us with them. I
okay.
look every day to spin them. I look every single day, and I can't find a character on there that excites me enough to spin them on.
See, that's where I'm at too. I'm not, yeah, there's no one. If anybody, it was Darko team, but now I'm starting to kind of get them where I want them at. Chase Watt said he has 800 credits. Damn.
See, and I spin them.
Uh,
See, so like I'm not a saver of anything. Like, and that's what I said, Jay Swat. If I have them, people like Mookie and people like you obviously have way more because I love to spend my shit. Like that's what it's for. It's for spending. Like
Yeah.
I'm even looking at 7-star my Kestrel or my Omega Red. I've stared at those for a long time and been like, ooh.
Well,
They're trying to be smarter with it.
yeah, let me start this new run. But I mean, just to really kind of recap this whole Scourge event. What I did is I went in with level 8 on my first run. Shout out to Dorky Dad because what really made me that confident because I was gonna start on level 6. But when I saw that he did the testing on level 9 or some level 9 difficulty or did something there that he had on the test server, I was like, hey man, this probably is realistic because my team is pretty good as we were just kind of looking at it. That's where I had them at prior to the event. I haven't done any recent updates to them. So I knew I had them ready, and I heard that there were you needed the Scourge to be big, and I'm like, shit, I got a 7 red one. So I was like, I felt confident. I was like, I can just jump right into it. Plus, I had Dormammu unlocked. Like I had everything. All the pieces were there for me to go ahead and be aggressive with it. So that's what I did. Now, the thing that I have not done is really look into these scourges. And I think Mitsu was talking about the last one, and you were talking about this too, Darth. Is that the very last one right here? That's like a free one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not. Is that the one on player? Yeah. Remove revive once from that character. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I might as well do that one. Okay. I didn't even, yeah. I was on the side, or I was like, oh man, the higher the points, the more difficulty. So I probably didn't even look at it. But again, I haven't even done my second run. I was starting it right there a little bit, and I just kind of gave up. I was like, I don't have the patience for it right now. So I'm definitely going to start. And I know this is a long grind event. I just, from my personal experience, and we talked this a little bit off to ourselves, Darth. For me, I'll talk about my take of it. I remember the grind that we had on the first time this came out. And it was just like, damn. And I was even doing this in between work. But I realized that really the grind is more towards the end. Once you see where the leaderboard is at, then that's the target. Then there's the finish line. Because right now, I feel like if I'm going in with it, someone else is pushing, I go post back further. And then I got to go in again and they push it back further again. So I rather just wait, maybe get some practice runs. If anything, that's probably what I should be doing, which I will do, and just to kind of get used to what the wave drops are and all that kind of stuff and what team I want to get familiar with. But I just feel like for me I can push that within the last 2 days versus the whole 10-day period, like every single day. But that's for me. I mean, for you, you said you had your excitement was kind of like
Well,
there. What's your take?
at this point, I almost still feel burnout from the Pestilence event because I went hard on Pestilence. You remember that? I did get her to say I did get my Morgan Le Fay to 6 stars and things like that. But I played. It feels like all I did for the last 2 days of that event was run level 8 Scourges with almost every single Scourge put on there and banging my head against node 5 and 10 for hours. So I can remember that as I'm doing this, and I find myself still feeling that frustration as I come down to one of those hard nodes. So last time it was node 5 for me with this last run that I tried and failed on because I put too many Scourges on there. But I think I'm going to be more like you. I think within the next 3 days, my excitement should ramp back up for it, and I'll try hard. But I'm pretty much set that I'm okay with a 5-star rogue at this point. Like that's not going to bother me. I really wanted the 6-star Morgan Le Fay. I mean, let's be honest. I really wanted the 7, but I was doing pretty damn well in the last Scourge event, like from the get. As where this time I'm not doing as well as I was last time. And it was 4th of July week. Everybody's got lives going on. It's the middle of summer. Like there's a lot of things going on right now to take away the excitement of this game mode. Plus, now I have Cosmic Crucible. I didn't have Cosmic Crucible when Morgan Le Fay was dropped. I don't think. If we did, it was brand new. So I've got other game modes and other things to think about. We're in the middle of a month-long event. It feels like maybe when Pestilence dropped it was the only thing going on at the time in Marvel Strike Force. So that was all I did for 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still excited. It's still a lot of fun. I think it's really cool for the community. I think it's really cool that almost everybody can run through and at least unlock Rogue by the end of the event. I think that's great for new players, newer players, mid-game players. I think that a much bigger percentage of the community is getting a legendary, which is good for the community as a whole. If everybody's getting it, it's never that bad. That just lets other kids have a little bit of fun with the new toy too.
Yeah. And J Swap brought up the thing about also during that Morgan Le Fay Scourge event, Pestilence, the Scourges were broken and making the scores higher, and there was also just different things going on with that first one that kind of added to. I think that you needed to grind. You didn't want to be caught slipping and not taking advantage of some of those free Scourges back then. So I think that's kind of where I remember having, once I heard the news and realized which ones were broken, that I had to get my run in there just so I could kind of see where I was within the pace of the leaderboard. Where this one seems, I hate to say that it's going flawless a little bit, as far as in Scopely's terms, as far as like
No, like
yeah, I mean, I haven't
no,
heard
all of
much of any
the
issues.
yeah, no, all of the issues that happened with the last Scourge event seem to have evaporated. Like we said at the beginning, we haven't seen the huge problems with the leaderboards, so they've either been fast at it or people haven't been doing it as much. And yeah, I've heard nothing about this Scourge is broken, this Scourge is broken, everything's messed up. My biggest complaint is, man, they got the openings of those nodes are the hardest part. It feels like if you can survive the openings, then you can beat the node. But I mean, just like node 5 for sure, that opening is insane. Like,
Yeah.
it's like the Wakandans and watching the Wakandans go 18 times before you get to take a turn.
Yeah, exactly it. And again, I know I didn't really record kind of where we're at, but just for those that are curious, I did that difficulty 8 with no scourges and just kind of where you land at. And it's just going to be a big crowd of people that all kind of did the same thing here. I definitely need to add some scourges. Now to kind of wrap up this one, just this topic, what I wanted to do is just kind of, I think it would be too lengthy to kind of break down each of these scourges. But what I wanted to kind of talk about is just looking into the teams, kind of like the MVP characters for each, traits. And to me, I think the big one up here when you go into the city, it's definitely going to be using what Shang-Chi and Cloak and Dagger. I see some people kind of going in early, bringing in, Scroll Girl to kind of help out, or at least get her ultimate ready. So that's kind of the stuff I've been hearing here as far as when you go into the city section. And then on
Yeah.
the mutant, this one is all about Axemen. Starting off with them, they're the MVPs there. But also, like you mentioned, you can, once you get Rogue Unlimited X-Men, it's another interesting team to start bringing in on this mutant sections right here. And then you
They're
can
great
even,
for node 2 of the mutants, node 4 there. The unlimited team. It's really good for node 4.
that one, okay. And then we jump over to this one. We talked about the big Node 5. This is definitely where you're going to bring in your Younger Avengers squad. I haven't heard about any too many
Nothing else.
mismatches.
I tried burner teams. Of course, I had the wrong Scourges on to try burner teams, but I tried other teams too. I couldn't get anything to survive the initial barrage long enough to do anything besides Young Avengers.
Yeah, and let's see what Mitsu. So when we're talking about Node 5, he says take Scroll in Node 1 or 2. Make sure her ult cooldown is ready and she is full health. And then you hit Node 5. Send in Black Bolt solo to eat Zemo's ult. Then bring in your Young Avengers and your Scroll Girl can ult to offense it down on turn 1 and give you a big survival boost. Yeah, so that's kind of a tip right there. And I think that's going to be more so like if you don't have a huge Young Avengers squad that can take that initial barrage, then that's probably more like the mindset to go with. But mine is pretty beefy enough that can take it, and then Scroll Girl just boom survives it once she goes into it, and then it starts rolling after that. Then you just start targeting like the Heartless, the Stranges, and then you start figuring out,
That's right.
yeah, and then you start going after just different people and not getting
You'll,
Sunfire to go off on you.
oh my God, yeah, you'll find out how awful some people are. Sunfire just making your day terrible, and it's
Yeah,
weird at the end because of all the dodges and the evades. Those Elsas can mess your day up at the end of the node and take your health down. Like those Elsas are a pain in the ass too.
yeah. All right, we'll just skip through, and then the villain section. I mean, there's so many different villains now, that are like high quality villains. I mean, like, we're talking about the Morgan Le
Morgan Le
Fay's.
Fay
Yeah,
is a
got
villain. Like
Doom, and if you got Dormammu unlocked, I mean, there's a couple on here. I didn't run too much of any obstacles. I would say just, I mean, there's it's not anything specific. I mean, there's a lot of open mashups you can do within those villain nodes. If anything, it's kind of saving the cosmic side of the villains. I would probably lean towards putting on the back pocket there. Because then when you run over here into the Cosmic section, this is kind of where you bring in your Eternals, and they become more the
Right.
MVP, right? So you got Eternals, and again, that's where I saved them
Surfer.
on move 4. Surfer, yeah. But that's not too big. And then they ended off over here. And this Snow 10, when you go back into the featured teams, there isn't, it's not like Node 5. I mean, you can get through it. I'm trying to think back on what my headache was. I think it was Miss Marvel was the headache. She just keeps coming in, but you can land Disrupt on her. So if anything, it's more about finishing Node 5 with certain cooldowns. Once you get through that initial barrage, and you start kind of winding down, the main focus is coming through with getting the cooldowns ready for Node 10, and then having what I did on my first run is I actually substituted Chavez with Miles. I used Miles on 10 for the disrupt.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's a key character right there. Whereas on Node 5, you may want to not. Some people were thinking to bring him in on Node 5, but I think that's where you want Chavez's health boost for.
To survive that barrage, yes. And I
Yeah.
think that Miles is good for 10 because you can run the beginning of that over and over again until you get disrupt on Sif and Miss Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can roll through. And I know that in my run, even when I won, like it was my Node 8, but I accidentally left Valkyrie up too long, and then I started killing other Asgardians, and it was bad news. Like it was rough. Like my Asgardians went from almost dead to full health at every buff on the planet. So Valkyrie's going to be cool when we get her as a playable character.
Yeah.
But she was a top priority target for me. Her and Icarus were that.
Yep. All right. Let's jump on. So I know we're kind of going through everything, trying to stay pace within time here. We'll jump on over to the Cosmic Crucible because that's a big one. And you know what? I'll load it up here first. I know Darth shared his team. I haven't set up my defensive teams yet, but we'll talk about it. So since I haven't set it up, let me bring up what Darth has here. If I find it right. Yeah. All right. So as we heard on the blog post, we got some updates on rooms 3, 4, and 6. So the first 2 rooms, you can kind of plug in whatever you want to. We won't really discuss that. I mean, there's just personal preferences. But really, it's this one right here. So we'll start with the room 3 because we got the Defender's Advantage. If I go back into my gameplay so we can kind of read it in depth. Where it is.
This is the one where mutants get a critical hit and they get 15% barrier.
Yeah, on crit. There it is. It's the barrier. I don't know if it's such of a big deal. Like personally, my take off of it, it doesn't like wow me enough. As far as like, I think you could come in with another Big Bang team. Like the recent buffs that came in here that they're doing to the rooms, you know, it's gonna help defensively, yes, but like I think like like at least my theory is like I want to put unlimited X-Men there, but they may be small or someone can kind of take them, their barrages and stuff like that. Or even if you put in the X Factor, I didn't even see what team did you have. I didn't pay attention when I put it up. You had here it
X-Men.
is. Yeah, you have the X-Men team on there.
I did that because I figure if Beast can grab some crits and get some barrier, killing Beast is key. And anybody that grabs barrier on that and makes it harder for them to kill and lets them go off a little bit more is going to make it tough. Now, the caveat is I also went very heavy on my offense because it is far more important for me personally to clear all 6 of my opponent's rooms than it is to win the match. So, I mean, it's just, I wind up winning usually 2, even with that, sometimes just 1. But I've never gone 0-3 with that strategy. But I feel that clearing, for the currency, clearing their 6 rooms is far better than getting the victory overall. So I went very offensive heavy. So I do have a decent size unlimited, but I'm going to use them on offense for room 3, assuming it's going to be a mirror match.
Okay. So did you have any slight curiosity to put in the X Factor team? Would be my question.
You know, everybody says that. I hear that a lot, but I don't. They give themselves barrier anyway on crit. They give the whole team barrier on crit. And you can only barrier for 30% of your max health or something like that. So that means that with all the crits that are coming off, they're going to be max barrier most of the time anyway. And I don't see them getting much more barrier than they have with all their crits and stuff like that.
And
I don't see it as big of a deal. They're going to crit a lot, but they're already getting barrier every time they crit.
And you know what's funny, and to the point that you're making there? about going heavy offensively and saving your Unlimited Mix team is that Rogue's basic takes out barrier, doesn't it? I want to say one of her traits actually removes barrier. So
Yeah,
that's
it's her basic.
it is her basic, right? Yeah. So okay, that's just something to keep in mind there. But like for me, yeah, I'm gonna keep the Unlimited X-Men. So I'm gonna test and kind of see how that if that becomes a nuisance or not. Um, and then we're going to room 4 over here, which is that Mystic Amplification. So what's the big deal on this one for you when you kind of read the updates on the City Mystic?
Their resistance, you're not going to land debuffs on them very very easily. But I mean, drain. So drains just more health, makes it harder for them to kill. Will mess with your efficiency points and damage. The damage is great. I ran a silly Mystic team there. That's the one room that I may change over and over and over again throughout the duration of this.
Well, let's take a look. So this is what you're running with, right? So you got Cloak and Dagger, and you brought in White Tiger, Ghost Rider,
Right.
and yeah.
So again, this may not win, but I'm hoping this will strip some efficiency points with how fast everything goes here. You know, White Tiger comes out with an early ability block. Ghost Rider goes with some early bleeds. Morbius goes with some early bleeds, and then so there's a lot of debuffs getting thrown on the field right away. So it'll be interesting to see with all that extra damage and with all that extra resistance and stuff how these guys survive through. Because now if you're trying to ability block Cloak or Dagger right off the gate with that 500% extra resistance, you may not be able to do that.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going in with Cloak and Dagger as well. I just haven't really looked in. I mean, my gameplay. I mean, I don't have it all updated at all yet, but I'm definitely gonna go in with Cloak and Dagger, and I haven't really thought about the other three. All right, and then we go into the last room over here, which is the defenders. I mean, I'm sorry, skilled batteries. So let me take a look at your skilled battery squad. And over here, this is who you brought in. So you got Surfer, and then you got Shang-Chi. So I think that's a big one right there. A lot of people are gonna have Shang-Chi on there. But you also want your Secret Avengers kind of mash up a little bit there. So what's your theory defensively for this setup?
Put Surfer out there so that there's a high priority target that's not Sam, Shang, or Sharon. Zemo's probably going to fall apart after his first turn. That's just how Zemo works. But basically, it's I try to put too many targets out there for you to single fire down the one person that's going to hurt you. Like I said, at this point, it's at least it may not be to win, but it's to strip efficiency points. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what they'll do, and I'm hoping that those batteries will keep. If they leave Surfer up with adjacent targets, he's going to go off ultimate fairly regularly. It would be better maybe to put Doom where Surfer is to feed him energy so that he ults turn 1. But I use my Doom with a Force on offense, so that's not going to work for me.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I think the weakling is going to be that Zemo. For him, it's just a matter of who he ability blocks for you with the RNG and strips some of the buffs. But I'm just looking at it because they have me thinking a little bit on what my setup would be. I think I'm gonna pretty much, and I keep hearing the same thing about Doom, but it goes to me, the whole thing off of all of this is that like when you get over here, their niche is just gonna be that ability energy. I don't think that's a big thing to like really overcome. Like I'm gonna come in with that same setup as last time. Like this room specifically, offensively, is where I'll bring in Infinity Watch, and I think it's gonna be the same thing. And which is kind of funny is that they'll be able to take it. They have the safeguard where they can't get their stuff stripped, right, from Zemo. So it'll be interesting. I don't know. I know I want to use Secret Defenders defensively for that room. I just need to figure out, like, what else I want to do. I was thinking about bringing in, what's his name, Red Guardian. It's kind of like it's that tank, that initial taunt, and just kind of try to, and then feed around it and try to come up with something. But sorry, I didn't have anything ready for this whole conversation.
Well, here's the cool thing is that for that room, you don't necessarily have to use Infinity Watch. You could use your own little combination and put your Zemo next to your Doom and some other characters and make your Doom go off turn 1. against, it really depends on the opponent. So that's the nice thing about this, is that the advantages are the same, or the traits, the new things that they get are the same for the attacking and the defending teams. So whatever you think your defense is going to do defensively, you can make that work for your advantage offensively as well. So having Zemo out there next to a character that could use an extra ability energy right away, since he pops off right away. So somebody like Doom or somebody else like Dagger, if you wanted to leave it that way and put Dagger on your offensive team that way, so that you know that Dagger's turn 1 is going to be an ult right behind Cloak's.
Yeah.
That's another way you can do it, because if they both ultimate back to back, it's pretty devastating.
Yeah, they even led me into like wondering, would this be, instead of using Doom as getting the extra ability, how would Dormammu be?
Right, use your Dormammu there so that he's ults on his first turn. Messes up your counters, messes up your 2-taps and things like that.
Yeah, that would be interesting. That's kind of where I'm leaning towards, because obviously I had him on defense on the previous setup, and I'm kind of thinking about leaving him in this particular room right there with getting that ability energy, and just probably mix it up with Secret Avenger somehow. I'll look into it.
That's a great idea. Zemo and the Secret Avengers, or even any of the Secret Avengers, because they'll go before this. It doesn't have to be Zemo. The nice thing about Zemo is he's the fastest character on the field. So if you're looking to make sure somebody gets ability energy, he'll go off and they will get it.
Yeah, exactly. So interesting. I think I'm going to start going that route. And especially, like, we know he dies off, and then you got him with the revives, and I don't know, it'll be interesting.
So he probably comes back and explodes the whole field again and takes all your debuffs again. I don't even know how that works.
Yeah. So that's where I'm itching towards. All right, well, this was kind of a interesting take. There's a lot of stuff going on, obviously, so this is a long video. I'm going to start wrapping it up for the YouTubers here that will get this later on today. So enjoy, you guys. Again, shout out to you, Brandon, there. You have some interesting comments. I feel like you might be one of our alliance mates for some reason and just giving me some comments, but I appreciate it. And I appreciate you guys here on Twitch. We'll still kind of wrap it up here in a bit when I stop the recording. But again, thank you. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your week and enjoy your time in the gameplay. We'll see y'all next week. Bye-bye.